Spartan Nation.
SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back, Spartan Nation Radio. We now bring in legendary State of Michigan high school prep football and basketball coach and longtime Spartan Nation contributor, the great Coach Chuck Kinnear. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great today. Great day to be a Spartan.
Coach, we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly with Spartan basketball, as we always do. And we're going to literally today, for the first time in a long time, talk about all three, good, bad, and ugly. Good, no doubt about it, Tom Izzo's best coaching job.
Yeah, those coaches, they might want to rethink their votes on Coach of the Year, because what he's done with this team, with the injuries and the adversity that they've had to face, is truly remarkable. Now, I know Matt Painter did a great job, too, getting off to a 6-5 start and then getting into the Big Ten championship. But look what he's overcome. And that is Izzo. And this team and entire, just keeping them all together and keeping them focused on task. This has been just an exceptionally great year for him coaching.
Totally agree. Coach, let's just go right down the list. I mean, more good. Again, more good is the entire coaching staff.
Oh, yeah. You know, you talk about this thing, and he's giving credit to DJ about changing up who was guarding on Vasdikas, or whatever. I can't remember that kid's name, Iggy. Who was guarding Iggy, and he put the more athletic, the more spring in his legs, Aaron Henry on him. He kind of fairly shut him down for the rest of the game. That was a great move by Stevens to suggest that. And, you know, you just watch the team on the sidelines, and you got all the coaches there. They're all in the ears of the players, keeping everybody pumped up on the bench, keeping everything in perspective. Top to bottom, Class A job by the coaching staff. Coach,
we said it once, we said it 100 times. Cassius Winston, this kid is a stud.
You know, you watch him, and it's really, he's the Big Ten Player of the Year, deservedly so. First team Big Ten, first team All-American, and you watch him play, and you scratch your head. You say, how does he do that? Because he doesn't look like the prototypical All-American point guard. He just kind of looks like a kid that's out there playing at the rec center a lot of times. You know, he's flopping on the floor, and he's doing scoop shots, he's doing this, but he just knows how to play. And he knows what his physical limitations are. He knows what he can do. He's progressed over the course of his 3 years here in Michigan State with how to hold on to the ball, control the ball. He has a sense of where his teammates are. His teammates have a sense of what he's up to. It's truly what you would call team playing, and Cassius is just a guy that stirs the mix, and he's just doing an exceptional job.
I agree with you. Coach, I'm going to talk about Kenny Goins. He was a little bit silent, but, you know, when they beat Michigan for the third time, but the guy was physically exhausted, but he still came through with big free throws at the end. Your thought about Kenny Goins? I still think he is the glue of the team.
Yeah, watching the ball game, and I kept wondering why he's not in the offensive mix. He's so reluctant to take outside shots. He was just exhausted, tired. And I think he was that half step behind what he would normally be. And if he had that half step, he would be a little bit more open and take some of those outside three shots that they've come to depend on. But yeah, he just couldn't guard Iggy, and so they made a great move of changing Aaron Henry around to seem to have fresher legs. And but you know, you can't take anything away from Kenny Goins. He rebounded well. Played really good defense, and he has been just a shining star this last month of the season for sure. And you know, I was thinking about the game, and I can't remember in the second half of that ball game anybody else coming in to sub out except Nick Ward. I don't remember seeing Kithier. I have to go back and look at the game again. And I know that Foster Lawyer didn't. So basically, they played that game, that second half championship game, with 5.5 players, and half being Nick Ward coming and play, and the way that was set up, he having difficulty defense. But Kenny Goins and all those guys, they just had to be gassed at the end of that game.
They were. Coach, and then a guy that doesn't get enough talk, the great Matt McQuaid, superstar.
Well, you want to talk about spit in your eye, here I come. That's Matt McQuaid, and he just plays hard. He plays aggressive. And I think we talked about this earlier in the season. One of the keys to the rest of the season was Matt McQuaid being more aggressive offensively, and he just put it all together in that game. Probably the best game of Matt McQuaid's career, I would think. He played solid defense. He played excellent offense, big-time shots, no quit. Yeah, Matt McQuaid had what a way to end his Big Ten career.
Coach, the next guy I want to talk about, then I'm going to get into the bad and then the ugly. Let's talk about Xavier Tillman. If you're Tom Izzo, I know you want to put Nick Ward back in the starting lineup. I just don't think you can. Nick was out sick. Out injured, not sick, injured. His conditioning just isn't there. He just isn't playing at a high enough level to bench Xavier Tillman. Xavier's just playing too good. Your thoughts on Xavier?
Well, I'll tell you a couple thoughts that came to my mind on this. You can't insert Nick Ward into the game right now because Xavier Tillman's better. That's the bottom line. Xavier Tillman is better. He plays fresher defense, tougher defense. He rebounds. The only thing that X doesn't have that Nick has is that fully unstoppable game on in the inside. And other than that, he's in my opinion, head and shoulders above Nick at this time. I know Nick's a good player, and Nick has his really high spots in that one, but overall game-wise, Xavier Tillman is the better player than Nick Ward at this time, and he has just did an exceptional job. He's so focused. You watch Winston play, and he has this total concept of the game around him, and then you watch Tillman play. It's the same thing. He just doesn't have those basketball skills like Winston from the position that he plays, but Tillman is so into the game. Defensively, he's so tough. Offensively, rebound, garbage shots, he knows what he can do, and he stays within those confines. Excellent job by Tillman.
Coach, we got to pick the pace up a little bit, but the last good thing I want to talk to you about is absolutely love the way the role players on this team. Foster Lawyer at the Big Ten tournament, Thomas Kithier at one point. Again, Aaron Henry, Gabe Brown a little bit. These role players are fulfilling their roles well. Agree or disagree?
Well, I agree on that one. You look at Kithier. Kithier comes in and just does what he has to do. He just plays tough. He's like a half step behind sometimes, but that's just him being so rusty from not playing as much basketball as he should. And we talked about Foster Lawyer a couple of weeks ago, and what we brought up about that was that he has to find a way to get shots. And he's starting to learn that. It's the same thing Winston went through. So, yeah, Foster Lawyer is doing a heck of a job, and they really need to get Gabe Brown more intense. But, the role players are playing great.
Okay, let's talk about the bad. I think it's the injury bug. Kyle Arns goes down. Nick Ward still isn't, and again, we're not calling these two players bad, but we're calling the injury impact on this team bad. Agree or disagree?
Oh, the bench. Yeah, you just don't have much of the bench anymore. You've lost two outstanding players, and Nick Ward is still hurt and still recovering physically from it, and your bench is that you could almost go not from the bad to the ugly on that one. Even though the role players are playing well, it's a bad situation.
Coach, I am going to talk about the ugly, and the ugly is this: NCAA seedings Michigan State should have been a #1 seed. They have the most quad 1 wins in the country with Virginia, which the committee said that was the biggest decision. Let's go schedule somebody. They win the Big Ten regular season championship and the tournament after every ratings metric called the Big Ten the best conference, including the fact, oh, by the way, they got 8 teams in more than anyone else. And Michigan State is not only a 2, but they're put in the same bracket with Duke, the #1 team, and who I think is going to win the national title. The ugly was the NCAA selection committee and where Michigan State got placed.
I totally agree on that. They were misplaced. Michigan got the better placement, the better division, and But I think what you got to do is you just got to go to Izzo on that one. We play anybody, any place, any time, and I think that's got to be your mentality going into this tournament. And they were misplaced, and it is kind of a slap in the face. But let's just start it up Thursday and go.
I think this season comes to an end in the Elite Eight. I think the only way they beat Duke, and I don't think it's an insurmountable task, by the way. I mean, I think it's a difficult task with all the. If Michigan State was healthy, I would predict them to beat Duke because I think they're a better team than Duke. But not being healthy, they're going to have to put Matt McQuaid on Zion Williamson because when they can force Duke to have to take long shots, that's where Duke loses.
Yeah, I totally agree on that one too. I think the loss of Josh Langford and now the loss of Kyle Arns is maybe a little bit too much for them to overcome. But I wouldn't put too much past this team. They just don't seem to understand that they can't win. So there you go.
The little engine that could. He's the great coach Chuck Kinnear, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Spartan basketball.